For thousands of years, the evidence walked silently beside us. It slept on temple steps. It crossed the decks of trading ships. It vanished into wheat fields before dawn and reappeared at the edges of cities that had not yet been imagined. Yet no one realized that every one of those animals carried the same hidden signature. The answer was too small to see. It was written inside molecules. Only in the last few decades did technology become powerful enough to read that invisible record with extraordinary precision. Ancient bones recovered from forgotten settlements were no longer treated as simple archaeological artifacts. They became biological archives, preserving fragments of genetic information that had survived long after names, languages, and entire civilizations had disappeared. Researchers began comparing those ancient genomes with the DNA of living cats. A timeline slowly emerged, not perfectly. Science rarely offers perfect stories, but with each new sample, the picture became clearer. The earliest domestic lineages consistently pointed toward farming communities in the Near East, where agriculture first transformed the relationship between humans and the natural world. From there, the genetic trail spread gradually rather than explosively, following the movement of people instead of expanding independently through wilderness. Cats did not conquer continents on their own. They traveled with civilization, sometimes intentionally, more often, almost accidentally. As merchants loaded grain onto boats, rodents followed. Where rodents traveled, cats found opportunity. A single vessel crossing unfamiliar seas carried more than cargo. Hidden among ropes, amphorae, and sacks of wheat, predators slipped quietly into landscapes their ancestors had never known. The voyage of civilization became the voyage of the cat. Most people imagine history being shaped by kings, generals, and explorers, but evolution often pays closer attention to creatures no one bothered to record. A sailor may have remembered the storm. History remembers the trade route. DNA remembers the cat sleeping beneath the deck. This is where archaeology and genetics began telling the same story from different directions. Ancient feline remains recovered from settlements across Europe, North Africa, and parts of Asia revealed a gradual expansion that mirrored human migration and commerce. The pattern was too consistent to dismiss as coincidence. Cats were not simply surviving alongside humanity, they were following us. Or perhaps, more accurately, we were unknowingly carrying them into the future. Then another surprise emerged. Researchers noticed that despite spreading across enormous distances and encountering vastly different environments, domestic cats changed remarkably little compared to many other domesticated animals. A horse transported across continents eventually reflected generations of selective breeding. Dogs diversified into hundreds of forms, each shaped by deliberate human choices. Cats remained cats. Their bodies shifted only subtly. Their instincts endured. Their independence persisted. It was almost as if evolution had concluded that very little needed improvement. That observation challenged one of humanity's deepest assumptions. We often believe success requires constant transformation. Cats suggest another possibility. Sometimes, success belongs to the organism that changes only as much as necessary. The predator hidden beneath soft fur had already been refined by millions of years of natural selection. Human civilization did not replace that design. It merely provided a new stage upon which it could perform. And perhaps that explains something strangely familiar. Watch a house cat stare through a window. Notice the complete stillness before it moves. The deliberate placement of each paw. The fixed attention. The explosive burst of speed that follows. Nothing about those movements belongs to the modern world. They belong to grasslands where survival depended on absolute precision. The apartment is new. The hunter is ancient. Every graceful leap across a living room is, in a sense, a rehearsal for a hunt that began long before the first city walls were raised. The past has not disappeared. It has simply become harder to recognize. As scientists pieced together this expanding genetic map, an extraordinary realization began to take shape. The story of domestic cats was never merely about where they came from. It was about what they refused to lose. Their ancestry had survived oceans, empires, languages, religions, industrialization, and now, the digital age. Yet beneath every modern comfort, the same ancient instincts continued to whisper through their nervous systems, almost untouched by 10,000 years of living beside us. The more we searched for the animal we believed we had changed, the more we discovered an animal that had quietly changed us instead. Like and subscribe. See you in the next